Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. This week is special. Why? Because Juventus is playing twice, tomorrow again against Salernitana in our home in Coppa Italia, and then at the end of the week we are playing again against Salernitana, but this time in Serie A. Which one is most important? Well, I will tell you immediately. Both are extremely important. We are not playing any European competition, so the two competitions that are available at the moment, we have to do the best then we can. Of course, there will be a lot of rotation tomorrow, but that doesn't mean that we can't do our best. We have and we must to do our best. Anyway, we'll speak about Coppa Italia, but today I told you it's a special week, so we'll try to also make it a special day with not one, but two videos. Why? Later today, Max Allegri is presenting in press conference, the game of tomorrow, and I'm really curious to hear his words for the very first press conference of 2024. If you didn't yet, please continue to support the channel, especially now. Now we are in 2024, so I need your help with a maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you didn't yet, because now we start. We start with a really good news. Before speaking about Adzic, because the coach of Adzic, he already spoke about him. Before speaking about Joseph Nonge, about Iling Jr., because before speaking about Mercato, we start speaking about the good news. Because in the beginning of the season, I was fearing a bit. I was fearing a lot of things. We know it. There were a lot of protests of the fans when they discovered that Max Allegri was reconfirmed with some hashtags Noi o Allegri, we or Allegri, or hashtags like we don't go to the stadium until ba-ba-bi, ba-ba-ba. I was extremely feared about the environment, the toxic environment, especially because also the Ultra didn't find at that moment peace with the management. So I didn't know how our 12th men in the stadium would have been. Well, looks like a lot of things have been solved. If we don't know yet if we will win the Scudetto, we don't know if we will solve the fact that we didn't win a single trophy in the last 2 years, well, we already solved something, and it is the capacity in our stadium that is again full, and not only they are full, but they are also back supporting the team with peace found between the Ultra and the management, which makes me extremely happy. And the numbers are absolutely not lying, because yesterday Romeo Agresti was reporting the first numbers of the home games of the first part of this season that are telling us 40,117 spectators or fans in the stadium, which is equal to 96.7 full capacity. That's the highest ever. It's even better, slightly higher than in the season 1920, which is fantastic. I told you, I was not 100% optimism. I was not 100% sure that these numbers would have been there. And then, of course, when you will see the beautiful rankings of Transfer Market or whatever that are telling you the most capacity in the stadium, the biggest attendance, Milan, San Siro, Barcelona, Camp Nou, and whatever stadium, you never see Juventus. But these are numbers that are a bit fake, because you can't compare or compete with stadium of 80,000, 100,000, 120,000 attendance if you have only a stadium of 40,000. So for me, what's important, the sign that we supporters can send, is the percentage of attendance. And here we see a 96.7%, which is amazing, which is crazy. 7 out of 9 games were sold out at home, which is beautiful. Not only the stadium, but also the museum, with a 16% increase of visitors compared to next year. So we see one thing when we are looking at these numbers. The Juventini, they want Juventus. Juventini, they believe again in something bigger, which is fantastic. And they don't only believe in Serie A, but they also start to believe in Coppa Italia, because tomorrow, which is a midweek game against Salernitana in Coppa Italia, well, the stadium is again sold out. And that's fantastic. That's beautiful, because we know it. We have an opportunity there. Inter has already been eliminated. Napoli has already been eliminated against 2 teams. Yesterday, Milan played against Cagliari. Could have happened that they were also eliminated. Yesterday, they showed that they won 4-1 against Cagliari. So tomorrow, we play. Juventus is playing against Salernitana. We see with Milan, they have showed the example that also rotating a lot of players, it is possible. And how will we do it? Well, with a few players, with a few rotation, and one that can play. Not sure if he can start or if he will enter from the bench, but it is Joseph Nonge. We already spoke about him yesterday. I already told you that you are not ready to understand the power of Joseph Nonge. Max Allegri already spoke about him, so I will not repeat everything I said yesterday, because copying what I said yesterday would be too easy. So I try to find new things to speak about. Well, What I wanted to tell you is that the very first time that he played for the first team, it was a friendly, because he never made an official debut in an official game, but it was a friendly, and it was actually on the 17th of December 2022 against Arsenal, the last friendly of 2022 while there was that World Cup break. Do you remember? A victory of Juventus 2-0? Well, he entered at the 63rd minute, and here is the quiz of the day. Can someone tell me, and let's see who's the fastest one, can someone tell me who is subbed out and in? So there was a player that went out at the 63rd minute and Joseph Nonge entered. Who can tell me who is the player that went out to make space for Joseph Nonge? Let me know in the comments. Well, he entered at the 63rd minute, and at the 91st minute, a fantastic, beautiful pass to Iling Jr., an assist for the 2-0 victory of Juve against a nearly first team Arsenal, which is beautiful. And that's the assist that I want to do, because if Nonge did an assist to Iling Jr., well, I want also to take that assist to speak about Iling Jr. And Iling Jr. that probably a lot of us were expecting much more from him on the field, but also from Max Allegri to play him, where he didn't receive a lot of minutes this season. On the other side, there is something that probably you already saw, or not, or you didn't pay attention to, maybe you already discovered it, but in the last 4 games, Iling Jr. played every single time. Not from the start, because he didn't start yet, but he entered actually every single time. And it's true, against Napoli, he entered only 1 minute. Can we consider it as a game that he played, yes or no? We don't know, but he entered. He played 17 minutes against Genoa. He played 36 minutes against Frosinone. He played 15 minutes against Roma. So it's already the 4th time that Iling Jr. is playing a game, which shows actually that Iling Jr. is receiving more and more trust from Max Allegri. Will he be taken off from the transfer market that already started? I don't know. Will some offers arrive for the English player? I don't know. One thing is sure is that step by step he's receiving more trust from the coach, which is a good sign. And tomorrow he could potentially start the game, which would be beautiful. And it's important for them, for Joseph Nonge, for Iling Jr., also for Miretti, to show that they deserve to play with the first team. If not from the start, at least being important resources from the bench. Because the other ones, Corriere dello Sport is telling us, they are going full power on the market, with Genoa that is about to sell Dragujin and taking back an ex-Juve player, Leonardo Bonucci, because he couldn't go to Roma. Napoli is going full power and immediately to a player like Samardzic. Inter is already thinking about the future with a player like Zielinski. While Juventus at the moment, they want to understand really well what to do. We already spoke about Juventus Mercato yesterday, but today the new information, according to Gazzetta dello Sport, is that Juventus is not able to do Mercato. They can't do Mercato because they can't spend. Well, I want to see the plus and the minus, because if it's true that Juventus is not swimming in gold, that we don't have the big cash power, on the other side, Juventus want to do it really smart. They don't want to go on the transfer market spending cash on a player for 6 months that will not really be necessary, or that can't elevate the team. We want to keep the beautiful environment that we created. Of course, if there is an opportunity, we will go through, but the most fundamental part is that Juventus is keeping that beautiful atmosphere with the players that showed that they want to go for it, that they believe in themselves. So we don't want to take things out of balance. Now, does that mean that Juventus is not active on the market? No, Juventus is active on the market. We know it. We are still monitoring a player like Sudakov. We are still monitoring players like Kefren Thuram, like Kone from Mönchengladbach. We'll be able to sign one of them from the winter, I don't know, will be extremely difficult. But we are already active and continue to be active because we already signed a player that is called Adzic. He still needs to put, of course, black on white his signature, but he will do it, I think, if I'm not wrong, next week. And then I think he will go back to Montenegro to finish the season with his actual club. He will be there on loan to come back to Juventus next season for season 24-27. 17 years old, fantastic player. We already spoke a lot about him, or at least we did our researches to speak about him on the channel. Today on Tuttosport there is an interview from his actual coach, and he spoke really well about it. Adzic 4 in 1 is the title of Tuttosport. Adzic 4 in 1. Why? Because he's actually comparing Adzic to 4 players. Because the question was, can you compare Adzic to a player? He said, coach of his team, he said, I want to compare him to a mix of players, to De Bruyne, to Bellingham, to Steven Gerrard, and to Jugovic, ex-Juve player, the one that scored that penalty to win the Champions League final. 4 huge players. Can you even believe it? Can you even imagine a player that is a mix between De Bruyne, Bellingham, Gerrard and Jugovic? Mamma mia, what a player. He is not as strong as Zirkzee, because Zirkzee, we know it, a few days ago we spoke about it. He was a mix, according to Gazzetta dello Sport, between Gullit, because of the hair, between Eto'o, Van Basten, Salah, Ronaldinho, Bergkamp, Ibrahimovic. So he's not at that level because it is not. But probably the coach of his team, the coach of Adzic, probably he read the article a few days ago from Gazzetta dello Sport, and he decided as well to start to compare him. He is a mix between De Bruyne, Bellingham, Gerrard and Jugovic. Now, going back in a bit more serious way, he had a question, can you tell a bit more about him? And he said, look, there is one thing that I really want to repeat, a concept that I really want to repeat, and I really believe in it. If I want to describe the player, he is actually the most beautiful thing that Montenegro football watched and saw in the last 15 years. So I'm not sure if he will be immediately a first team player. I don't know if he will start first with the next gen. I don't know if he's the talent like they are describing him, but all the people are speaking extremely well about him. They are really pumping him up, and I'm super happy to have these young players that we didn't know about like a few weeks ago that are watched and monitored by the team of Giuntoli. Extremely happy to see these kids arriving at Juve. It's important to be faster than the other ones on these young talents that at the moment are still cheap. So pay attention to Adzic for the future. Then, what are his qualities? I already told you a few weeks ago when we started to speak about him what I noticed, but his coach is telling us, well, the fact that he's always playing with a head that is high. He's always watching around him. Yes, he's 185, so quite tall for his stature for a player, but he's always watching what is happening around him. And that's a super important skill. Why? Because he sees the game before the other ones, and he's always ready with 2 or 3 solutions. We love that one. Another big quality that he has is the fact that he's able to protect that ball. And the coach said, try to steal the ball from him is impossible. Well, these qualities for a midfielder, offensive, defensive, whatever you want to, that is able to take that ball, to protect that ball, and already playing with his head high, watching left, right, and giving the ball is just incredible. It's just fantastic. A weakness that he has, well, the coach is saying the fact that we can't take him off from the training session, because when he's training, after training session, when his teammates, they are all going into the shower, he continues to stay there. And sometimes he also look if there are other teams from the youth sector that are still continuing to train, and he goes sneaky to continue the exercises with him. We can't stop him. He's focused, a workhorse with a work ethic that is incredible. Well, these are beautiful words from the coach. I love them. I extremely love them. Now, Juventus is thinking about renewing some contract. Yesterday, the news came that Juventus wants to renew the contract of Moise Kean until 2028. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. Well, of course, you're splitting cost. I already told you, value of a player that has an end of contract until 2025, which means that next season, if you don't renew his contract, he could already start checking around and leaving for free. Juventus, they don't want to lose players for free. That's something super fundamental that Juventus decided to do, and they are also thinking about renewing the contract with Szczesny, and this time for Szczesny, lowering his salary. That's the strategy that we did already with a lot of players. But Juventus is saying no to some interest. We already heard about a few players that are saying no, thank you, want to keep them. Well, yesterday apparently Roma, they were interested in Dean Huijsen on loan or to sign him, I don't know, even if they don't have a lot of money to buy players. 1.5 million, 1.8 million euro is what they can spend according to the UEFA rules. Well, anyway, Roma, they asked for Huijsen, Juventus said no. We already promised him to Frosinone, that's where he will go. Maybe tomorrow he will even play. Could be the last game with Juve 23-24 before going on loan and coming back to Juve because it's a dry loan. And there is also another player that they say no to, a player that could play against Salernitana, probably not tomorrow, but in the next game in Serie A, because Locatelli has been suspended. So we are speaking about Nicolussi Caviglia, because at the moment he's the only valid alternative for Locatelli, and he will not be there, so he will play. And that's where Juventus said to the team of Inzaghi, to Salernitana, no thank you, he will not come back on loan to your team, we want to keep him. Let me know what you thought about it. At a certain moment in the video I was a bit confused because my neighbor, they're continuing to do the works, drilling walls, it's incredible, so it's difficult to concentrate. Then there was the guy that was bringing the delivery guy, so it was a mess. In the middle of the video, it was a mess. So sorry for that. I hope you excuse me. I'm asking for forgiveness. Grazie, forza, Juve.